This is the new building that we have been working on to be a really functional space with a cold room eventually, a spare bedroom, a workout room, and a living quarters. And today what we're going to do is get a Kuma wood stove installed in the living quarters. So let's take you in to show you it. It is a construction zone. It is a Kuma Aspen LE-1 wood stove, and we'll show you how we got it installed in this video. Before we really get into this video, I want to take a moment to point out that we are not professionals at wood stove installation. Therefore, this video is not advice for others, but instead it details how we chose to install our new wood stove. So what I have right here is a new Kuma Aspen LE-1 wood stove that we purchased to put in the living quarters that we are putting in the new pole barn that we've been talking about a little bit in our channel. So today what we're going to do is we're going to get it all opened up and put it in to replace that barrel stove back there that's kind of been limping us along while we're working on this build. And this will be really nice because it'll be a lot more efficient than that has been. That came out of a shop and we're just going to put it back in a different shop and get this Kuma wood stove in. So let's get it unboxed.
This wood stove was really well packaged in order to prevent any damages in the shipping process. And on the top of the stove, what you saw us take off, that was the glass front as well as the legs that will go on this wood stove. Now the plastic's coming off, we're removing some other pieces of literature from inside and about to take it off of the pallet that it is bolted to. Now we're going to flip it on its back very carefully. It did rest there, but I ended up putting a brace under the back too. Where it was bolted to the pallet, these come off, and this is where we are going to put the steel legs on. These are the steel legs over here all ready to go. We also have the catalytic right there, as well as our warranty right next to it. And over here, here's the glass front for the front of the stove. Getting the steel legs on was pretty simple. They are on a little track, so you can decide how far up or down to put them if that makes sense. We made sure to make it symmetrical, and it did end up coming with 2 extra bolts as shown right there.
So we are on to putting the catalytic in, and I wanted to film this part. This is the catalytic. These two metal pieces right here are referred to as the handles in the directions. So we're going to put that in. It does have a film along the sides of it to hold this gasket on, and it says to just leave that on because it will burn away in the fire. It also comes with a flame guard and then an extra piece of gasket just in case you need it. If you don't have a good seal around the catalytic, says if you have an 1/8 of an inch or less, you want to make sure to add this. Ours fits great, so we don't need this. So let's get this catalytic in. So first, put the flame guard down. I'm going to grab this by the handles, making sure not to damage any of that in there. That's the important stuff. It slides back in there. Push it till it can't go anymore. And you can see it is fitting nice and snug. There is no gap anywhere. And I can feel right here where the camera can't see and there's no gap. So that looks good. This took us a minute to figure out. So we did get it figured out. You want to angle it upwards, so towards the front of the stove or kind of like towards yourself, I guess. And this part needs to go downward so that these little dimples can lock in a little bit. So here we go. And we push it. And I'm pulling this part towards me, the top part that's hard to see. So I'm pulling that towards me, pushing it in. And it is kind of locked in place. I will unlock it so you can see that it was locked. Do you see how it kind of had sprung out of there? But there it is. Oh, I unlocked it again. My mistake. Okay, it's on those little keeps though, so it's good to go.
Now it is time for us to go ahead and stand up this wood stove, and I was a little worried about it, but honestly it ended up going pretty well. We just ended up tilting it very slowly and things went well, except for we did move a couple bricks from the inside, which ended up going back in pretty easily, so it wasn't really a big deal.
Time to get a pipe for this stove. So this pipe is laying here because we tried to go with a single wall pipe for this pipe that we ended up putting in. This is a double wall pipe. The single wall pipe was not going to cut it, and this one cost a lot more money. So we're glad we got this one installed and ready to go to hook up the Kuma
we changed it out because they're just probably going to melt the paint off the building being that close, because we didn't have the set off we thought we would.
Okay.
That's the reason. Is it would have been set up a foot more like we thought we could, this would have been fine.
But turns out we needed the double wall. And that stuff is expensive.
In this next part here, my dad is disassembling the old barrel stove and we are sliding the new Kuma wood stove into place. And I don't know if I've mentioned, but it is pretty cold out in this building right now, so we have a heater going, and it was very nice to be able to use that heater to melt some of the snow and ice that was on the pipe that will be going onto the new Kuma.
So we're getting closer. This is our kitties' water whenever they're out in here while we're working. Seems to get pretty cold. The stove will be nice.
Now for a couple of quick measurements before deciding exactly where to cut the pipe, and he's going to cut it next with an angle grinder.
What we're deciding to do right now is we accidentally cut our pipe a little bit too small. But the thing about what we're doing right now is this is a temporary situation with setting up this wood stove because this building is obviously not finished. We're just putting this in so we can work on this building while we get it finished. So eventually this fireplace is going to have some sort of a brick or a rock facade surround around it and under it. So we are going to need a new piece of pipe, this piece of pipe later anyway. So what we're going to do right now, just to kind of make it work for now, is we're just going to put a couple bricks or chunks of wood or something underneath the 4 legs so that we can get this installed and get a fire in it today. And that's the plan right now. And that's what he's cutting. I don't know if you can hear him cutting. That's what he's working on right now.
Now for sliding some shims underneath the 4 legs, and then we're going to put the glass door on in a minute, and this literally just slides on those posts right there, which was really simple to get on, and we double checked everything with the directions.
I want to stop right here to remind you again that we are not professionals at installing wood stoves, and you really should check the manual that comes with the stove when you install your wood stove. There's a lot of really good information in here as far as minimum clearance requirements, and I'm aware of the fact that right now some of our requirements may not quite be met, and that is because what we are installing today is a temporary installation so that we can work on this space, get drywall installed, get all the mudding done. Then we will move the stove out of the place that it is currently in order to do some kind of brick or something around the stove. And then we will put the wood stove back. And at that point, we will make sure to get all of our proper clearances in line, as well as making sure that there's proper floor protection. I am aware that the shims that we just used don't meet code, but we decided to use them because this is a temporary setup and not something that we are advising others to do. It's just what we're doing to get us by for now. So what I guess I'm advising is to make sure you double check your manual because there's a lot of information in here, and this Kuma manual is put together really well. And also, if you just call them and talk to them, they will talk to you on the phone and you will get a real life person when you call them, and they are a great place to troubleshoot if you are having problems with draft or various other things that might be happening as far as how your wood stove is functioning. Give them a call and they will help you out. Their customer service is excellent, and that is definitely part of the reason why we went with Kuma for a 3rd wood stove purchase that we have made in previous houses and now in this house. We are on to the exciting part, starting the first fire. It's going to be yucky. And the reason I say it's going to be yucky is because every time we install a wood stove and then we start the first fire, they don't fit. It has to burn off all of the paint and such on the stove, and it can smell pretty toxic. So good thing this building is vacant and we can just kind of leave.
Okay, anything longer than that won't fit.
This Kuma Aspen has a 9-hour burn length. It boasts to anyways. You know, we haven't tested that out yet. And 16-inch logs fit inside of it. So we're having a little bit of trouble because our other wood stove inside, it's a little bit bigger logs, but now we know. This Aspen LE-1 wood stove is just like all the other Kumas we've had as far as these two controls right here. So right now, getting the first fire started, the stove is obviously cold. And when you start a fire cold, you want to make sure that you do a couple of things. You open the air intake valve all the way. That is this one down here. It is fully open. And then this is the catalytic bypass. So if you pull it out and down, it's open, and then you let it go to go in. So that's open, that's closed. And right now we want it open so that all of the smoke and everything can bypass the catalytic. And you want to keep an eye on the gauge over here. Once it gets up into the active range, you can close this down, shut your door a little bit before that is what we like to do. And then you can also close down your damper as well. We have a video on our channel that talks a lot about how to use one of these stoves and how they function. It was a review that we did of our Kuma Cascade model, and check that out on our channel if you're interested in a little bit more details. This is kind of just a quick overview real fast, and you're getting a nice fire going in there, so we'll keep you posted on how this goes. It's been a little bit of time. I am back in the building, and it is time to go check out the fireplace and to see how it is burning. I'm pretty excited about this. Hopefully it's going pretty well. Ooh, it's stinky. Oh, it looks nice.
She's a burning.
I wanted to show real quick that this is definitely in the active range. Once it gets up into the solid barred area, that is when this catalyst can be closed. And this is what it looks like up inside. See that golden glowing up there? It is actually really hot for me to keep my hand right there. But it is definitely engaged, and it was a while ago. I just kind of missed filming it, but that is what to look for. As soon as it starts getting into the barred areas, that's when that gets closed right there. And we are running it open completely right now as far as the air damper, because we really want to burn this hot to burn off any fumes and to just give the fireplace a good first burn. Our new Kuma wood stove is all installed, and it is definitely very hot now. It looks gorgeous. I really am liking the way that it's looking. It looks like all of our Kumas have honestly looked. And remember how I talked about that fume that would be in this building during the first burn? We are definitely smelling it. We've been in and out of this building, and I was out for a while. I came in and the fumes just hit me in the face. So they are getting aired out right now. We opened a couple windows, and that's just kind of what you expect on the first burn, and it will go away and it won't be an issue after this burn. But I'm glad that it's out in this building that no one is really using right now. And now we're going to be really able to work on the space and get it all put together, and eventually we will kind of put the stove back in. Another cool feature about this wood stove that we will be setting up in the future once this space does get finished out is there is a place at the back bottom of the stove for a pipe to pull the combustion air in from outside, and then you won't be losing heat, or we won't be losing heat in this space to fuel the fires. It won't be sucking air in from other crevices. It'll be sucking air in from the back of the stove, if that makes sense. And we do plan to get that installed in the future. Something from the construction just fell on it. If you saw that sizzle, I don't know if you saw it, but anyways, that is this video. Thank you so much for checking it out. We will keep you posted on what we end up thinking of our third Kuma wood stove. I mean, we're 3-time repeat buyers, so I think we kind of like them, but we'll let you know how this one ends up working after we get some time with it and experience how it works.